Hi, I thought I'd do a video about executive functioning as promised, but it's been a bit out the window this last month, but it's coming back now after lots of rest. So when I struggle with executive functioning, I find it extremely difficult to make decisions, even when it's out of two things. I can narrow it down to make life easier, but some days I'm thinking, right, okay, I can't go out, so I'll be creative. I'll use my time wisely. So shall I draw a picture or shall I write a poem? But there's so many questions flying around in my head. Like, if I drew, what should I draw? Have I got the time, the patience, the stamina to sit down and focus on all those colours as I paint? What should I write about? So many subjects. What am I passionate about? What would help the greater good? Because whatever I'm passionate about, whether it's truth and justice, sharing awareness, helping people, in the only way I feel capable of in this moment. Or have I eaten? Could I eat? What shall I eat? Have I got food in? Do I brush my teeth before coffee? If I have coffee, will I crave a cigarette? I'm trying so hard to quit. I best drink a herbal tea instead because coffee makes me anxious, but it's good when I need to clean my flat. So after all those thoughts, I figure I should sit down and meditate before my adrenaline gets so high it comes to a point of no return. So all those thoughts and probably pacing back and forth while I'm trying to decide obliviously to all the energy I'm using up. So I'll sit down, I'll meditate, and I'll try and bring it down naturally without beta blockers. During sensory overload, I usually lay down in total silence and work on bringing my adrenaline down naturally. This is easy to do when I'm in a suitable environment, but not so easy when I'm in an unsafe, busy, crowded environment, depending on my levels of capability that day and my energy levels. When there is a burning desire to share awareness and knowledge, I end up sitting down writing when I'm able to. Writing flows easy and calms me down. It gives me something to do with my hands. It makes me feel like I'm making a difference. It's healing and transcending some very uncomfortable emotions relating to my past. It's about the only thing I can do that won't be detrimental to my health. I want to go shopping, but I'm daunted by the steps to take before stepping outside of my home. There are many things I struggle with. Luckily, I'm able to write today as I've been burned out the last few days following a couple of hours socialising with friends and family. In order to feel energised enough to get to my family gathering, I sat in silence for 2.5 days, slept a lot and focused on drinking plenty of water. If that is all I can do on these low days, when my muscles ache so much that my skin feels like it's on fire and my nervous system feels electric, and if I was to force myself outside, I would quickly become overwhelmed and disorientated. So I save my energy for the important things in my life. Although I still need some shopping. I'm hungry. Don't want to go shopping though. Ugh. Then I need to retreat back to the safety of my four walls. It is very lonely. I rest and then I come out again. And when I come out and emerge, I'm full of life. I'm sociable. I appear to be a free spirit. I would love to be an actual free spirit, but I feel trapped in my own mind and relying on external support. If I risk going to a busy event just because I cannot cope with the loneliness anymore, I would probably drink alcohol in order to feel safe and comfortable by numbing my senses with a few drinks. I self-sabotage in order to not draw attention to myself. But the ironic thing is that we will draw attention to ourselves, guaranteed, if there's alcohol involved. Alcohol allows me to relax, but I pay for that after effect alone and go round in the same circles yet again. It's almost 2 p.m. My bath is going cold, so I got in there and in full intention to leave the flat. I've made myself look presentable and thought I'd go for a walk, But have I done that? No. I want to go to the toilet. Have I done that? No, I'm doing this video. Because that burning desire to to share knowledge, to speak, to communicate, to connect is still there. It's not something autistics choose. It's just we choose to feel safe over continuously feeling like we're trying and getting nowhere, you know. So I've attempted to leave my flat 3 days in a row. But then I just gave up because I didn't know where I was going, what to expect. I was afraid something bad will happen. So I meditate and I'll try and eat and I'll drink water. I listen to my body and I sit down. I hide my negative traits. I don't think they're negative. It's just sometimes, you know, when I'm nervous, I do this and I do this. I rock. I didn't even know I was doing it, you know. But if I feel safe amongst friends, I stim comfortably and it's fine, you know. I do a lot of this, rubbing on my legs. It's just a self-soothing comfort thing. But sometimes people look at you and I don't like that. I don't like drawing attention to myself. Which is weird because, you know, I did a job of singing in pubs and things like that, but I pushed myself and forced myself out of my comfort zone. And it's almost destroyed me. I can't do that anymore. I need support. I'm not a natural leader by all means. I just, could be a natural teacher if I had the support and to enable me to do it, but I don't, and that's fine. I don't need it. I'm happy as I am. I'm independent. You know, Swansea's a bit boring really, with lack of quiet activities to do unless you're on your own doing them, obviously, walks in nature and things. But it would be nice to get out more and feel a part of this community, you know. I do try. Okay, so where were we? Yes. When I feel good again, I share it with whoever I come into contact with. Then the unrealistic expectations come in, the disbelief of my autism and the assumptions that I'm not trying hard enough. Or maybe I made it up. It is absolutely shocking to discover that people do not see the whole picture. As an autistic adult, I've been taken advantage of more times than I care to think about. I've dealt with continuous shaming from wolves dressed up in sheep's clothing. I've had money, wages taken from me. I've been mugged, beaten up, bullied and looked down upon from people who see what I can do for them instead of seeing the vulnerable person that I really am in that environment. Expectations of me start to feel like impossible pressures placed upon myself while I try to prove I'm still a human being. It's damaging to carry on to try and function as a neurotypical person without considering my own needs. So here I am, trying to process while writing in hope to share some awareness to those who think to those who think we have it easy. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not here for sympathy, pity or attention. I'm looking for this is a last resort. Doing a little home video on my phone in my flat where I feel safe and it's quiet and it's good to talk, yeah? BT said. I remember that advert. I got brainworms, advert tunes in my head taking up precious space. They need to leave. They need to go now. So maybe I can just push all that crap out with some worthwhile information to share awareness of autism. Every individual is different. I'm looking for practical ways in which to encourage inclusion for us without disregarding our own needs. To reach our true potential, we work alone, but a lot of the time we hit a brick wall because the very people who help to build us up, who tell us that they understand and that they want to help us, are more often or not the ones who lose all patience with us and disregard us as people who don't try hard enough. This is far from the truth. As an autistic woman, I've built up resilience over the years from injustices of sexual assault, rape, trusting the wrong people by believing them when they have stated clearly their intent. trusting the wrong people by believing them when they state their intent, or by not trusting the right people because they have not stated clearly their intent. Why would you? Everyone should trust, right? How will life give you what you want or need if you don't trust anyone? Trust is one of the main problems I have in life. At garages, when I must trust mechanics who don't say what they mean, or when I'm overwhelmed in certain environments and people take me personally, if I was to hold my head or look frustrated when trying to converse, if someone I trust was to offer me their arm to cross a busy main road so that I don't get disorientated or anxious, so anxious that I might have a panic attack, and then they leave me on the central reservation with another busy road to cross, with no hope of knowing which way to go and no guarantee of my safety in that moment or afterwards, when we eventually make it to our own safe space to calm down. The helper or the fixer could say that they helped me as much as they could and their job was done, but that doesn't really help at all. It leaves us fragile and vulnerable and in a worse state than before we attempted to cross the road with complete trust. If the helper explained that they can take me to the central reservation, but then they must go, that would at least give me a choice of whether I want to proceed onto the road or not. In my case, I will not accept the help because it takes away my choice. Usually my choices consist of these two questions. Is it safe? These three questions, sorry. Is it safe? Can I trust the person's intent? And what next? If there is no plan B, then that would normally result in me having a meltdown, which is hard to recover from, especially if you're in an unsafe place. I could risk getting knocked down by a car or anything, you know. If I knew the person's intent from the start, I could make an independent choice as to whether I wish to cross the road when it's busy and risk overwhelm, or just simply wait until the road is less busy and go alone. It might be the slower option, but at least it's giving me the independence and the choice and the trust in myself that I need to get from A to B. Practical solutions to simple problems is what we do best. But neurotypical language differs from autistic language. It takes autistic people a long time to trust, but it is totally worth it. It's totally worth the wait. All that the people involved need to do is accept us as we are. Be patient and try not to mould us or change us into people that are easier for you to be around, because that feels controlling. And it could be misconceived as emotional manipulation by the autistic person who has been left in a danger zone by people they've put their complete trust into most of their lives. We don't trust many people because if we trust you, it's a big deal. We either trust with all our hearts or we don't trust at all. There's no in between. So we need to tread very carefully. We need to know beforehand so we can proceed with our own choices with all of our strength. These trust issues really interfere with my desires to succeed in life. The lack of support within society and of continuity people change and are entitled to. I like to think that we're all changing and evolving for the better, but when simple direct communications are not implemented, it leaves the autistic person disabled, so they withdraw from the very thing that they got excited about, which they thought was going to make them better. Autistic people need to know your intent. It's not obvious to us if you don't say it out loud and in a direct way. We've had our invisible boundaries disregarded and have had the finger pointed at us like we are purposefully being awkward, especially for you. But that is not what we're about. We want peace on earth, we want harmony, and we want community. We want to free ourselves without judgment. We want to be able to move around if we need to, speak if we have an important, valid thing to say without being shut down immediately by somebody on a power trip. We are all about working to help the greater good. Let me just hang up. My phone is ringing. Sorry, Rose, I will phone you later. We're all about working to help the greater good. We need understanding and support. And if you can't do that, then at least believe us when we disclose our trauma to you. We are not disclosing information because we like vibrating on the victim mode frequency, which is what a lot of neurotypical people assume, like we want attention or something like that, because that's ridiculous. I don't work like that and never have. I believe in positivity and the law of attraction. I just find it really difficult to communicate when I'm overwhelmed. It comes out in a way that's not understandable, you know, and you just get judged for it. So I'm trying my best here, speaking on behalf of a lot of autistic women also. We're not saying that our needs are more important than anyone else's. We all have needs. We're not saying, hang on, just scroll. How do we even know what your needs are when you've just rejected us as our authentic selves and are adamant that we should know you by pure guesswork? Sorry, my guinea pig. When he wants some food, he nibbles on things that he's not supposed to nibble on, like cardboard and stuff, and he'll do it continuously until I bring him some food. But he's had enough. He's got a better diet than I have. Right. How do we know what your needs are? You know, we're not mind readers. It doesn't come naturally to me to know what you mean when you say in one thing and contradicting yourself with an action, you know, contradictory actions. It's really hard. If you knew what it was like as an autistic person and how they think, you would be more clear in your communications. When we are clear from the start, we respect each other's boundaries. But I have discovered time and time again that people will just drop you at short notice with no warning or explanation and expect us just to know why, or expect us to be okay. Autistic people need to know why. Like when the doctor told me to take off my pants in the operating theatre, but the operation was on my mouth. I mean, you know, that's so far away from where my pants are. I need to know why. There needs to be a logical explanation why the doctor wants me to take my pants off as a 7-year-old girl going into the operating theatre to be knocked out when I'm not aware what's going on and there's people fiddling with my body. Do you know what I mean? It's very dodgy. We need to know why, and at least have a witness or family member in the room. I think people are getting police checks on the employee and references. And how many times have you thought to get a reference on your boss and a police check on your boss so that you can decide whether they are good enough for you to work for? You know, nobody ever questions these things. We just go into things blindly and end up in danger, you know. Okay, let's not go off on a tangent. I need to know why, and it needs to be communicated clearly, otherwise mental, emotional health issues get worse. Just by knowing myself, I can articulate this insight in a way that everyone understands. I have no food in my home, I am daunted by shopping, but I sit and write about it instead of trying to do something about it. The energy it takes to get what I need sometimes is not worth the unpredictable nature of the task, so I don't even try. I won't ask for help because I feel like a burden. Not all the time, but most of the time. At least today I'm washed and dressed. I was a bit adventurous to think I would be walking out today and getting some fresh air to feel a bit better, but I won't risk it today because I think it'll make me worse and I need to get well. Tomorrow's a new day. My plans changed this morning, and to be honest, I was very relieved because most actions I take are forced in order to get better. You know, it doesn't come naturally to just leave my flat. I lived in a van because I was already outside and it was easier to be outside because I'm there. And I wasn't the free spirit that everyone thought I was living in my van. I spent most of my time alone, rocking in my van, chain smoking, feeling very lost and misunderstood and sometimes feeling very suicidal, you know. but I kept trying. I was a warrior. I was always employed. I'd never give up. And if I could sense there was something going to happen in a workplace, I thought, oh, the shit's going to hit the fan here, I will leave, because I'm not going to be witness to that and experience the overload. When that does happen, I'll move myself from the situation beforehand, because I can't recover from when shit hits the fan, you know. And if I can see the shit come in, I will leave. Where am I? I will have a walk tomorrow with a good friend who I trust, and save my energy for that. That's something to look forward to. Without beating myself up for not being more capable today, without guilt, and instead really focus on what I am capable of today. So yes, I've done all my self-care. I've cleaned the guinea pig cage out. I need to go to the toilet. I'm freezing cold, but my need to get this out took over all those basic needs. Those should be the needs of priority, really, shouldn't they? But this is like, it's a burning desire. Every time I paint a picture, it's a burning desire to get something out, you know. A lot of, well, artists understand that. But I'm not sure the people who are demanding, the artists, come on, produce this, produce that. Can you do this? Can you do that? And nobody ever mentions the time it takes to do it, or how much you think it's worth and how much are they willing to pay, but they just want it. I'm not able to meet the demands of people sometimes. Not everyone, it's just one or two people, that's all. So I stay away from them as well. And so I won't make any long-term goals at the moment, because that will cause even more problems with my executive functioning. I cannot sort out the basic steps for the little things in life we find difficult, if not impossible to do. It's taken me my whole adult life to create an environment for myself where I feel safe. So every step I take, I keep in mind how easy it could be to lose everything by not being misunderstood in my own language. After 2 or 3 days rest and recovery from sensory overload, my executive functioning comes back slightly, but it's not enough to get all the things I need to do done. Today I have managed to look presentable and so hide my autism from the world. I try to present my best self to the world, but most of the time my best self is not enough to feel even presentable to myself. Tomorrow is a new day. I have a plan which involves the help of a friend, a walk in nature. I'm looking forward to that a lot. When unexpected change comes along and there is no plan B, we feel defeated and it is hard to pick ourselves back up. All dressed up and nowhere to go, but I push myself and I push myself so that I feel a sense of accomplishment. But the knock-on effect of a last-minute change can impact us in a negative way. As an autistic woman, I need to plan carefully what to do, and most of the time I don't have the executive functioning skills to think up, write up and follow through on any plans. So here is my only thing I can do today to help myself process and share awareness of the difficulties and struggles of a person on the spectrum. I'm grateful for what I'm capable of today. Tomorrow's a new day. I will wake up grateful again. I wake up with a positive attitude and try to think of ways I can impact the world in my own little way. Every little bit helps, they say. To prove that's true, my wonderful autistic friend, Pixie, has raised the money they need to get home from being trapped in France for 3 years. With the help of GoFundMe, the autistic community have helped and raised half the money, and they're able to come home after 3 years of being trapped in France. So that's amazing, you know. I was able to help from my own flat. I didn't have to go out into the community to help this one person who's going to come back and help the greater good, maybe start a charity. But there's no rush for that, because I just want this person to heal from all the trauma, basically, that they've had, and settle somewhere safe. You know, everyone deserves that, to heal from their trauma, settle somewhere safe, It might take a few years, but there's no point rushing these things, because there's no point sending a broken person into a job or into the community and have them volunteering or doing things that they can't do. They can do maybe for some time, but then everything goes to pot, and it's very detrimental to an autistic person's health, because of the rejection issues and the trying and trying and trying from a very young age, from 3 years old, trying to be a person which is more palatable for others, rather than living a life where you're happy and content. I don't think I've ever had that, so I'm going to try starting from now. Yes, we are happy. The autistic community are amazing. I've not met any of them. Maybe that's why. We are happy to spend time alone despite the lack of real connection. Our hearts are lifted by each other's stories, struggles, and accomplishments. It feels like my autistic family, and I'm really, really grateful. So, okay, that's a little bit about executive functioning. You can go into more detail with that when it comes to autistic children with maybe very specific needs, or a special need, a disability, an intellectual need. There's all these different things, but the core of what autism is still the same, and it's very much misunderstood. So I hope that makes sense to you, and I'll see you when I feel like writing and filming another time. But for now, I need to go to the toilet and get a jumper because I'm freezing. Take care, bye.